What's happening, guys? And welcome back to the channel. And Chelsea stopped it from becoming 3 defeats on the spin by returning to winning ways and temporarily the top of the Premier League table with a 3-1 win against Southampton in the pouring rain at Stamford Bridge on Saturday afternoon. George, before we get into it, we were kind of expecting some drastic changes to the lineup, with some kind of squad players coming in that have been pressed in recent weeks due to the fact that we haven't played too well in the last couple of games. We saw the likes of Trevor Chalobah restored to the back line, Ben Chilwell coming in for his first Premier League start of the season, and we also saw Ruben Loftus-Cheek deployed in central midfield alongside Kovacic, with Hudson-Odoi finally getting a start in the attacking three. Were you pleased with those selections and kind of not unexpected, really?
No, I think it needed freshening up from the two fixtures. I mean, you put it into context. They were two very difficult games against Manchester City and then Juventus. But I do feel as though this was quite a significant game for us to get back to winning ways. It didn't really matter how we got it done, but we needed to get back to winning ways. And I think changing the lineup slightly, being less predictable, and giving some players that just deserve the chance. I think that's what Tuchel's done so well. You know, Loftus-Cheek's really impressed when he's come off the bench, so he deserved his start. I like Hudson-Odoi personally. I know it's been well documented from us both on this channel about, you know, whether he should have gone in the summer to get, you know, I think his time may have been up, but I like him. And, you know, Trevor Chalobah again, you know, homegrown, wants to play, looks mature, ready to step up. So I was actually quite encouraged by the lineup, despite people may have thinking that we've gone slightly, you know, I wouldn't say a less strengthened side, but you know, a bit of a curveball, should I say?
Yeah, I think it's great that we've got a manager in Tuchel that will actually pick players on form. Yes, we've got the big signings like Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech, etc. Sal Niguez, maybe not such a big signing, but bought in on deadline day. How pleased are you to see that in Tuchel we've got someone that is not afraid to drop big players and not just play them because of their price tag or their reputation? You know, if they're not playing well, it doesn't matter who you are, you'll be on that bench.
Right, it sets the standards, doesn't it? And I think Tuchel, we know that from Tuchel. I mean, like you said, Havertz scores. We spoke about it off air. Havertz scores the winning goal in the Champions League final. Big summer signing, doesn't play. Loftus-Cheek hardly featured at all, even when he went out on loan. Gets a start this weekend. So Ben Chilwell, the same, just come back into the fold. He's £50 million left back, not cheap at all. So I think you need that from a manager. It can work the other way, like we've seen from Manchester United, who left, you know, Ronaldo, Sancho, etc. on the bench, and it didn't work out. But I think with the two defeats we had, I think we just needed a bit of freshening up. Some players with a bit of hunger who needed to fight for their positions, and you know, luckily it pulled off for us.
Yeah, no, it definitely did, which is great. In terms of the game itself, obviously on the back of 2 defeats in a row, it was vital to get a good start and try and get an early goal, and that's exactly what we got. Ben Chilwell whipping a corner in. How refreshing to see someone beat the first man from a set piece. I mean, that doesn't seem to happen too often these days. Not quite sure why. Flicked on by Ruben, and there's Chalobah with a diving header at the back stick. I mean, it was a great start, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's exactly what we needed to calm the nerves. Again, particularly in the 2 previous games we failed to score. It's important, you know, to get that early start. But I'm sure you'll come on to it. But then it's that failure to push on and you know, really take the game to Southampton when we were 1-0 up. I think that was the problem. Bit unfortunate in areas with disallowed goals, as I'm sure you'll come on to say. But yeah, what another goal for Chalobah at home. So and you know, Loftus-Cheek getting involved as well at the near post. So yeah, good fast start.
I mean, how impressed have you been with Trevor Chalobah? Because he's kind of burst onto the scene in pre-season, had a great game in the Super Cup, obviously scored in his Premier League debut, first game of the season against Crystal Palace. I think it's kind of softened the blow a little bit of not getting Jules Koundé from Sevilla, because we seem to have unearthed someone who could be a top player.
Yeah, really impressed, and he's learning from the best. You know, we've got so many experienced defenders. I think that's one of our strongest positions on the field with our back line, and he's learning from the best. We obviously let Tomori go. We didn't get in Jules Koundé, as you said, so we were a bit concerned about that area. But Chalobah's just stepped up to the mark, and it's refreshing to see not only a homegrown player be given the chance, because that's quite rare in itself, but then to actually take that opportunity and really go for it, thinking that, just playing safe isn't enough, and to see him going in attacking areas, I mean, it's exciting for Chelsea because he could be one for the future.
Yeah, no, definitely. I look forward to obviously seeing a lot more of him as the season progresses. But as you said, George, we didn't really push on and get that second before the break. I mean, Southampton admittedly didn't offer a lot, a couple of opportunities here and there, but we head into the break just the one goal up. Typical of Timo Werner's Chelsea career so far. Azpilicueta puts a great ball into the box and he obviously head nods it in. Ruled out again. I was feeling like he just can't catch a break at the moment. That's 16 goals that he's had ruled out by VAR since he signed for Chelsea. Obviously, some of those will be legit. Others will be like this one yesterday, which was very, very soft. I mean, I don't know what you thought about, but I thought there was absolute minimal contact with Azpilicueta and Walker-Peters. It's not enough for a grown man to hit the deck.
I mean, I've looked at that. It's one of those that can go either way. I think there definitely was contact, but I think the giveaway was that no real Southampton players claimed for a foul at that point, and there was a lot of play build up before the goal even went in. So I think that's the issue again with VAR, isn't it? Once someone flags it up from upstairs, the referee is then almost forced into a position where he's either got to give it and go with the majority who have seen something, or really have the bollocks to say, actually, I've seen it and I'm sticking with my decision, which we very rarely see. So as soon as it was flagged up, we knew it was going to be disallowed. But yeah, it was a soft one for me.
And George, from there, fairly swiftly afterwards, Southampton's equaliser followed. Tino Livramento, obviously back at Stamford Bridge after his summer move to the Saints. A great run down the channel, and Chilwell just rash and in bringing him down. It's a Stonewall penalty. George, you put that down to just Chilwell being a bit rusty, not having played a lot of football recently, and he just makes a mistake. I mean, for me, he should never lunge in like that in the box.
Yeah, it's being rusty, and if you don't play particularly at the back, you lose your positional sense a little bit, and you're where you're supposed to be. And I think he was just desperate to try and impress, basically. I think he feels under pressure now starting that he needs to make those great challenges, those last ditch that he did so well in that final against Manchester City in the Champions League last season. But it's just laziness, isn't it? And once you go down on the deck in the box, you're risking, the risk is very high, and it was a Stonewall penalty.
Yeah, and obviously Ward-Prowse steps up and coolly puts Mendy the wrong way and slots it into that bottom left-hand corner. George, at 1-1, I'm sort of thinking, we're in trouble here. This could be another one of those days. It doesn't seem to be going our way particularly. What were your thoughts when the equaliser went in?
Yeah, again, just thought it's probably the confidence level we're at the moment, just, not being as solid. Okay, you can take those two games that we lost in isolation because they're two very, very good sides, but I think the players felt the pressure of this was a must-win game, particularly if we're going to so-called challenge for the title. These are games that you have to win. So at 1-1, with not a lot of time left on the clock, you're thinking, our chance is going to run out. But then you're always going to create chances in that last 15 or so minutes. So I wouldn't say I was confident that we were going to get the winner, but you would always back Chelsea at home to at least create something where we had the opportunity to win the game.
Yeah, for sure. And I have to say, pretty swiftly after that equaliser, I think the red card did massively help us out. Ward-Prowse very rash in trying to win the ball back high up the pitch when Mendy plays out to Jorginho. There's no debates. It's a definite red card, and that does of course help us out. But you still got to go and get the job done. We saw the likes of Ross Barkley come off the bench. He's been a bit of a forgotten man, but credit where it's due. He came on against Juventus and looked okay. And he supplied a great pass to Azpilicueta, who then laid it off first time for Werner to get his much-deserved goal to put us 2-1 up 7 minutes from the end. Are you surprised that Ross Barkley is kind of back in the fold again now and seems to be ahead of the likes of Sal Niguez?
A little bit, but we've mentioned it before. I think we've got some very solid midfield players, but not a lot of attacking-minded midfield players. And what Ross Barkley offers is that, like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, that ability that when he gets the ball, he's only thinking forward. And you see that ball that he plays to assist Azpilicueta. I mean, there's very few players we've got in the middle of the park that make that pass. And I think Ross Barkley is actually one of them who would. And he has got quality. Yes, he's not first choice by any means because he's very inconsistent with his play defensively. He's a bit, well, I don't think he's as organised as what Tuchel wants, but I honestly think only him, and maybe I don't think Kovacic or Jorginho look for that ball out wide. So you've got to give credit to him to come into the fold and come on and make an impact.
Yeah, I think that's all you can do from the bench when you know you're not going to get many minutes and you've got to make the most of every opportunity. Ross Barkley hasn't really done himself any harm, and I think we can maybe expect a couple more cameos from him depending on how the game goes. I feel that perhaps he was thrown on in this game because we're searching for a winner. We're at home, and he's a kind of attack-minded player, so he's probably going to be thrown on. I think he deserves a chance more than Kai Havertz or Ziyech at the moment because he's done more than those lads have. And George, we get that final goal at the end through Ben Chilwell. A bit of ping pong in the box there, really. First, Azpilicueta hits the Lukaku hits the woodwork. Then Azpilicueta hits the woodwork, and then finally Chilwell rifles it home, and it just squeezes over the goal line. 3-1 doesn't really flatter us, but it did have a hint of a kind of a bit of get out of jail there. But the 3 points was all that mattered. But just a couple of performances I wanted to touch on. We've mentioned him previously. Ruben Loftus-Cheek seems to have reignited his Chelsea career at the moment. You almost feel the international breaks kind of come at the wrong time for him. He sort of wants to keep playing. How impressed have you been with him in recent weeks? Obviously, Carabao Cup, Villa, this cameo against City and Juve, very good. And he was great for 75 minutes today as well.
Mate, so good. He offers something completely different. I mean, the size of the man, when he's going at full pace, it's very difficult to get the ball off him. You can see that. And again, he's got so much talent. That horrible injury he got to then come back. And it's all about taking your chance when you get it, particularly at the top end, when you've got those top four teams that you get very limited chances. And he's done nothing but impress me. So I'm expecting him to push in for a starting place in the games to come. And I think the next big question mark is whether he can step up in a big game. I know he made an impact against Manchester City, but we were already a goal down. It's whether he can now make his mark in those big games where he comes up against much more of a resilient midfield and defensive line. Bigger teams. Manchester United at home is one that's coming up fairly soon. So, yeah. Really impressed, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think that's definitely the next step that he needs to take. But he fully deserves his place in the side at the moment on merit. He's playing better than a lot of more established players. And I, for one, have to say that I wasn't really expecting this from him. Having seen him on loan at Fulham last season, he got relegated. He couldn't really get in the starting lineup every week there. I have to say I was a little bit concerned for him, but I'm delighted to see how he's done. It's a credit to himself. It's a credit to Tuchel as well as a manager, the man management side of it with him on the training pitch, getting him to work harder. I think he's really developed his game nicely, and I obviously look forward to seeing him. But yeah, that's just myself and George's thoughts on the Chelsea-Southampton game. Vital that we return to winning ways, which is what we did. And we now head into the international break on a bit of a high, and we will welcome you back to the next video once the international break is done. So guys, make sure you smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll catch you in the next one.